Hello, everyone. Not a day passes without revealing a stark difference between the two opposing sides in the war in Ukraine. Let me show you what I mean. So, we have a strike directed not at the entire city where this military object is located, but just the object itself. On the other hand, additional information keeps coming in about the brutal rocket strike against a market 2 days ago in the eastern Ukrainian town of Konstantinovka. 17 people were killed so far that we know of. There's 28 wounded, and considering where this was, that this was a heavily peopled area, we're probably going to have more wounded, or it's possible that we have more that didn't need to be hospitalized. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken had a chance to visit the border guards and the demining center in Ukraine, and I'm glad he did, and here's why. I mentioned before that one of the main challenges in the counteroffensive has been the vast minefields. It's not something you can just drive around because these stretch for miles and miles and miles. And so as Ukrainian troops continue making progress, the Russians are doubling down and adding more and more mined areas. So those networks of trenches, the second line of fortifications that Ukrainians are approaching right now, that is all mined. And this brings me to yet another point in our conversation about genocide. Because if you look at the definition of genocide according to the international law, as I mentioned before, there's a series of things that contribute to it. And it doesn't just have to do with the murder of civilians of a specific national group. It doesn't just have to do with the deportation of children. But one of the points there is rendering the area where people live uninhabitable. So, the area where these minefields are right now is going to be uninhabitable for a very long time. The late Princess Diana was one of the famous advocates for taking the demining operation in the formerly war-torn areas very seriously, because those things sit in the ground for ages and anyone can run into it. And her particular concern at the time was children who might find something like that, decided something to be played with, and kaboom. So think about all of the mines that Russians put into the ground on Ukrainian territory and how that is going to impact the habitability of Ukrainian land for many, many years, if not decades to come. This is genocide. This is very, very important. So this article appeared in multiple sources. You can find it in Euronews, Reuters, pretty much anywhere news is reported. BBC has it. Apparently, Romania found Russian drone parts in its territory. How do we know that it's Russian drone parts? Because Russian drones are supplied by Iran, so they're very easy to identify. They have Iranian parts, Iranian assembly, and Chinese electronic components. Very easy to identify. Romania has a bit of a contested area with Ukraine, the area called Bukovina in the Carpathian Mountains. But Romania also used to be part of the socialist bloc, so it too used to be under the Soviet heel. And right now it's showing signs of setting aside whatever issues it has with Ukraine in the face of the common enemy. And the important part about this is that Romania is a member of the EU and a member of NATO. So this is serious. So according to Ukraine's foreign ministry and Romanian officials, Shahed drones fell and detonated on Romanian territory. At this point, I am curious to see how much noise Romania is going to make about this, considering it doesn't sound like there's been any casualties. But this illustrates that it doesn't matter how far west you are from where the war is actually taking place, you are not immune from the effects. And how long is it going to be before there are casualties and there are serious damaging? So, NATO, this is your member. Your call.